Two dice are rolled. Find the probability that the sum of the dice is 4, given that the first die was a 1. So we're rolling two dice. Hopefully you should have it kind of ingrained in you by now that you should be looking at the dice chart. I'll draw one up here because it's easier than flipping back and forth for me. 1, 2, 3. I can't read that. Let me write it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the first die, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the second die. So again, this would be getting a 1, then a 1. This would be getting a 2, then a 1, and so on. All right. Find the probability that the sum of the dice is 4, given that the first die was a 1. Well, I know in this chart, I'm saying, let me give these names. Let's call this E. Let's say this is F. In general, if I was just trying to figure out what is the probability that the sum of the dice is 4, I would have to be looking at this event, that event, or these three outcomes. Getting a 3 and a 1, a 2 and a 2, or a 1 and a 3. I had those backwards. Should be 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1. There we go. So if I was just looking, if I didn't know anything about what the first die came out as, I would have to do 3 out of 36 because there's 3 outcomes where it's equal to a 4 out of the 36 total. But I do know something. I do know that the first die was a 1, which means I can essentially restrict myself to just looking at this column. So that means the probability of F given E here is going to be, well, it looks like there was one outcome where I got a 4 within this column out of the 6 outcomes within that column. So the probability of F given E here is 1 out of 6. All right, if two dice are rolled, find the probability that the sum of the dice is a 4, given that the first die was a 5. So in this case, we're saying, okay, we're saying we know that the first die was a 5. We know we're somewhere in this column. So let's call this, sum of the dice is 4. I guess we already called that F up above. The first die was a 5. Let's call this G, since we've already used E up there. E, F, G, sure, why not? So if we know the sum of, if we know the first die was a 5, that means we're somewhere within this column. And you can see there are no outcomes in this column where we had a sum of 4. So the probability of F given G would be 0 out of 6, which of course is a 0. Of course, if we roll the first die as a 5, there's no chance at all of having the sum being 4. We're going to have a sum of at least 6.